Put my note.
Okay. All right, I
Okay.
just started the recording. I also have notes. Where's my notes?
Found it. Okay. Okay. There's no order to my notes. It's just random. So I'm just gonna start.
Okay.
Um, Number one, the time jumps. I feel like they're a bit messy. It's kind of giving me like whiplash. But then I was thinking, oh, it's told from him through his perspective, and he's like an old man, so maybe he's like, losing it a bit, and
Mm.
maybe that was intentional. So I don't know. I think it could be that, and that's why the time jumps are a bit weird because suddenly we are in 1 year, and then suddenly we go back like 2 weeks, and then we go forward by 2 months. I'm like, what is going on? At the beginning, it was weird. I was like so confused. But then I kind of got the hang of it, so it's not too bad. But initially, I was like, what is happening? It was weird. And also the reminiscing thing, it could be that too. Yeah. Um, I was really mad at Paul when he was describing his UTI and how painful it was. I'm like, go to a doctor already. Like, this man said that he has a steady job, which means it's not like he can't afford going to a doctor. I'm like, why are you waiting until it's so excruciatingly painful? It didn't make any sense. But then, he got healed, and I was like, oh, okay, it was a plot device, so fine. I'll let that go too. But at first, I was like, this guy's nuts. Or
But
it's a guy.
didn't he talk about, or maybe, I mean, I know he was referencing something else, but didn't he talk about how like just doctors sucked back then? Like how were doctors with
Yeah.
UTIs back then? I don't really know.
That's true. It was like you either get a whole lot of medicines or they just say just deal with it or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it
that's
was
true.
more that, but I also kind of agree.
Yeah. Okay. Or like in Sri Lanka, they'll just boil some leaves and make us drink it and miraculously are healed afterwards. But he did not know that, so I can't blame him.
Dang, I need some of them leaves.
The second time I got mad at him was when he went into the cell with coffee. And I was like, dude, you are so bad at your job. Like, that's probably like the number one rule. Never go into the cell when no one's around.
Literally.
I know he
Yeah,
kept saying, oh, this is wrong, but I don't know. I feel called to go in or whatever. But I was like, dude, you're so bad at your job. Like, still, even if you feel compelled to go in, do not go in. At least call somebody else and make sure they're on standby. But again, he kind of, you know, made it better by saying, oh, he was healed. So I guess that was another plot device. Can't be mad at that. Uh, oh, I'm guessing Coffee is innocent and he's going to end up dying anyway. That's why I see the story. I don't know about this. I haven't watched the movie, but I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. It feels that way. I don't think he did that to those two poor girls. I feel like somebody else did it and he tried to heal them because he has the gift, but it just got perceived like he was the rapist and murderer at the end. Uh, the mouse, Mr. Jingles, I think might be my most favorite character, even though he died.
I know.
It's so sad. Mr. Jingles strokes Steamboat Willie. I like him. He is insanely good at what he does. So yeah. I still don't understand what his purpose is though. Maybe he does serve a purpose because the previous times with the time thing and him being stupid, his UTI, I have been like kind of consoled at the end. Like eventually he had an explanation to why these things were happening. So maybe the rat's gonna serve some purpose. I don't know. I'm hoping. Or else it would be just weird. Yeah, I had one more note. I wish that it was kind of less about Paul and more about the inmates because that is a really
Mm.
fascinating concept. I was like, oh yeah, these people they're about to die. I want to know more about them. So far, I mean, he has done a good job at like describing them. The chief and um, Delacroix,
Mm-hmm.
the French guy. Um, I mean, he has done a good job describing them. I mean, he kind of makes them sound human. I mean, I know they're human beings, but they did something terrible and awful and unforgivable. But still, there's a human side to it. So that's really interesting. Yeah, the healing thing with coffee, that part I can get behind. It's not unheard of. The moths, is weird. I can't get behind that. I don't know why he had to insert that supernatural piece into it. Maybe there's a reason for that too, but that's weird. The healing part, I know it happens, so I can't say that it doesn't happen. Apart from that, the moths was what gave me the ick a bit. Also, I hate Percy. I don't know what his problem is. So yeah,
Okay.
that's my. Oh, I had one more. Sorry. I only read three of his books, and I know that I read like two newer books, so it's unfair to say this prematurely. But if I had to rate it, I would place this third. Maybe because it's his older works and his newer ones were more compelling to me. Like Fairy Tale would be like, ooh, up there, number one. Number two was The Institute. It was like so action packed and like so much was going on. It was so interesting. This is a bit more slow paced, but lots to think about. So it's interesting. But just if I
Okay.
ranked three, I would place it third. But then again, I only read three books by him, so yeah. I'm done.
Okay. You want to go, Julia, or shall I?
I can go. I agree with Manel. At the beginning, the time jumps were throwing me the fuck off, which is
Yeah.
why I thought my audiobook was fucked up.
Uh,
Because I was like, why are we repeating this again? Like, did we not just hear this? So I'm really distracted. Why is this girl sitting like that? Like, why does her, anyways, what the fuck? I almost want to show you guys. Um, that just can't be safe. Anyways, so, but then I finally got the hang of it and I was like, oh, okay, like it kind of makes sense. I'm still not totally in love with it, but I get it and I appreciate it. Um, I personally absolutely love this book so far. I think it's like so incredibly interesting. Um, I really like Paul's perspective, and I'm glad it's from the perspective of Paul. I do wish I knew more about the inmates as well, but for whatever reason, I'm really enjoying hearing Paul talk about them in the way that he is, and kind of like his relationships with the other inmates and Percy and everything. I just find that interesting. I don't know, and I feel like it adds some like humaneness to the entire situation. Considering that they're on death row. Like, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if like you have to take some code of conduct when you fucking become like a warden on a death row like cell block. Do you know what I mean? But I appreciate that. I don't know. I really like Paul's character. I like who he is as a person. I fucking hate Percy. I think he's just like a masochist. Obviously, like he's just some weird fuck who gets off on hurting people, and I don't like him at all. And I know, well, I mean, obviously, he fucking killed Mr. Jingles,
Yeah.
which is like,
mm,
I'm glad he pissed himself, little bitch. Anyways, I also think he's gay and he doesn't want to admit it, and that's why he's being fucking mean like that.
Oh.
Anyways,
mm,
um, so Coffee too. I did watch a movie. I don't remember what happened. I just remember Coffee, and I remember crying. I remember crying at this movie, which is why if a movie makes me cry, I will never watch it again. Um, which is a lot of movies. Um, so I personally don't think Coffee did it either. I do think that he was trying to take the pain away from somebody else. He was just happened to fucking be there, and that's what happened. And then to Manel's point too, I was totally surprised. I guess I wasn't surprised at the healing, but I was very surprised at the moths, but I loved it. I loved that like supernatural weird thing about the moths. I feel like it just added like a different component to the book where I just like it was very literal. It was very just like black and white, like this is what's happening, whatever, which I would have not minded anyways. But I liked that it was just that weird thing that kind of just like threw him over the edge. Why is this car fucking driving like that? And I just really appreciated that. I liked that part. So I'm curious to see like what else is gonna happen. Um, Toot Toot is like my favorite character. I'm sitting. I'm sitting. Ah, like he's just like so fucking funny in the audiobook. Like his character and like what he's saying. He's like, I'm going. I'm going. Like I don't know. I just really like that. But obviously, like Delacroix and Mr. Jingles are the absolute best part of this book so far for me. Um, when, when he's doing the healing and Delacroix is like, he's killing him in his little French accent. He's like, shut the fuck up, Delacroix. I'm fine. And
yeah.
he's like, "Oh no," but I don't know. I think it's just maybe the accent that just makes it like so much fucking better. It's just like so hilarious. And obviously Mr. Jingles, like I don't know. I love Mr. Jingles. I think it's fucking sick. Like when yeah. Anyways, so like overall, like I really really like this book. I think it's so interesting. I kind of know what happens at the end, obviously, because I've seen the movie, but at the same time, like I'm appreciating the book. I have nothing bad to say. Like I know everything bad's gonna happen. I don't know. I kind of like see this is like I appreciate this version of somebody retelling something unlike Atonement. You know what I mean? I appreciate the fact that like, but anyways, that's all I kind of really have to say. If anything else jogs my mind, I'll say it. But yeah,
Okay.
that's how I feel so
Um, I'm I quite like this book. I hadn't even thought about where I would put it compared to the other King. I've also only read these King books, so yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm gonna think about that, but I quite like this book so far. Um, I agree with Julia. I like the perspective of Paul, and I actually like one of my notes compare was comparing kind of an aspect of it to Atonement because I think like I guess it's like two aspects. One of them is like one I already had in my head, and then like another one kind of like based on what Julia said,
far.
just
Okay.
sort of like sparked in my head.
Fuck you, bitch. Sorry.
It's okay.
I hate when you
Um,
have your fucking turn signal on and people just speed the fuck up. Like there was clearly enough space for me to turn my turn signal on because I'm not gonna put my turn signal on unless there's enough space for me to turn. I'm not one of those people that like shove my way into things. Anyways, sorry, Aaron. Sorry,
and
sorry,
then,
sorry.
like it's okay. And then like speed up right then. Yeah, that is a jerk move.
Yeah, and I'm like, you left all that fucking space, which indicated me that I could go, and then the minute I want to fucking go, you're like, yeah. But I just sped up. Anyways,
Is okay. So the thing that I was thinking of was this book has an incredible amount of details. I was thinking of it and Atonement, and there's so many. It'd be hard to say which one has more details inserted in. Atonement did it in that kind of like flowery, poetic way, and this one is done in a very, very like down to earth kind of way. But to me, between the two, this one feels more immersive because I believe that this guy was there during that time. All the
yeah.
colloquialisms and all of the racism, even though you can tell he's not really racist, like I love the fact that he's still saying racist stuff because that's just how things were. I mean, like just even in my lifetime, I can think of like
God.
stuff that I would say in the 90s that like even though I was not necessarily like against those people, it was just how people communicated. Do you know what I mean? Like it um, where all of the flowery language in Atonement, it was like it was quite beautiful at times, but it was oftentimes like immersion breaking for me, because it was like flowery for the sake of it instead of like making me feel like she was actually there as much, I guess. Um, so yeah, I really like his perspective. I like his character. I like the way he's describing things. I would like to be inside the mind a little bit more of the inmates because this is like a very fascinating like thing that it's describing. But at the same time, I think it's cool and I appreciate his like nonchalance toward all of it because he's so used to the death. He's just so used to sending these guys to like they just murder people for a living. Do you know what I mean? And so um it's like it's yeah, I think it's a cool perspective, but like yeah, I kind of wish I knew like what was going through the chief's mind as he was going in and stuff because it's just a weird people on death row about to get the electric chair. Like what a strange yeah. Like I'd read another book on that from another perspective. Um, let me see. Mr. Jingles is incredible. I gotta say, like when when Percy stepped on him, like that sentence uh got me like more amped up and angry than any sentence that I've read in kind of a while. Like I was so mad and like so sad about it. Um but I guess it's just because he made me care about this little mouse so much, which is like pretty cool. I think it's completely possible that the mouse is going to have like some other purpose, like maybe it gets like resurrected or something insane like that. But I think one of the things it did for me literarily is um I noticed he did this in Fairy Tale too, where if he's gonna bring in really outlandish crazy stuff at you, he eases you into it. And so we were already like in this jail world, which should just be very, very like by the book and very, very like hyper realistic, kind of like that feeling that I was getting, but like not feeling enough from like the Nightingale sometimes. But then in the jail cell, like in the jail's perspective, it being so comedic all the time, and then you kind of have like this magic Ratatouille mouse showing up, it kind of like
Mhm.
opens your mind to like, oh, something weird's happening here. And then all of a sudden, when he heals him, you're like, yeah, you know. But if the mouse hadn't been there, I think it would have been like a little bit harder to swallow, which is cool. And I remember Fairy Tale did that pretty well as well. So I think he served his purpose enough, but I hope he comes back, or I hope he's got even more to serve because, uh, yeah, uh, props to Mr. Jingles. He's the greatest. Uh,
I think Coffee's gonna resurrect Jingles.
that would be amazing. Like if he just walks up to it right now and like it comes back to life, that would blow my mind. But yeah, I don't know. Man, him describing the urinary tract infection was hitting too close to home when I had my kidney stones. Like I was getting like visceral pain feelings while he was going through that. That sucked. Uh, let me see. One of the Percy's the jackass. One of the quotes that oh no. One of the quotes that Paul said about Percy stood out to me and I really really liked because in my mind I can think this about so many people and I don't like people like this. He said he's too lazy to cook his own meat but he loves the smell of a barbecue. Man, uh yeah, I just don't like people that like don't like going through the work of doing something that they enjoy and then kind of complain about it. And he does kind of come off to me as like one of those guys. Uh super digging this so far. I'm wondering like I could see this ramping up a ton or I could see it maybe just like not go I can't really tell. But I when you said you'd rank it below Fairy Tale, Fairy Tale was incredible, don't get me wrong, but I'm wondering if we had only read the first half of Fairy Tale and then we had read the first half of this, how would we rank those? Because that would be like the more proper ranking right now. Because that one was super slow, and by the halfway point, a lot like we were all saying kind of like man, like just kind of like hope because him actually going into the world, I don't think that actually happened until the second act or at least the second half of ours. So this could ramp up some, but I don't really know. I don't know where it'll fall. I
Something drastic would need to happen, like maybe Coffee experiences an Elijah moment where he's lifted up to heaven or something like that. Then yes, it will
yeah,
kind of fit up for
because
me.
Fairy
But
Tale was too good. I could see this
Mm.
maybe supplanting. I almost called it Infection. What was the name of that? The Institute. Maybe like if it got like super good, but for me to like it more than Fairy Tale, it would have to go pretty crazy as well. I
Yeah.
agree because Fairy Tale was
Wha-
kind of incredible, but
One thing that also surprised me was the fact that this was all happening in the span of 1 year. I hope I got that right. Like he was recollecting memories from 1 year, and
yeah.
the rate at which they were like churning out inmates and people going to death row was like surprising to me. So, and
Mm,
this is just one facility. So I had to like look that up, and apparently, like since the capital punishment was started up in the U.S. until now, 1,600, people have been executed through any of those methods, like hanging or shooting or through the lethal injection or the
dang.
electric. I was like, that
And if you
feels
just do
so
the
little.
math, like that's a lot of killing pretty often, pretty consistently.
Because the book gave me the sense that maybe it's so much more, but when I actually looked up the stats, I wasn't expecting that number. I thought it would be higher based on the book,
Oh, you're
but
saying that that's
because it
low?
was just one, and he's been here for
It
like
is
so
low.
Wait, you said
yeah,
It is low.
600,000?
There's a reason for it too.
Oh.
1,600, 1,700 total.
Oh, dude, I thought I heard you say 600,000. That is
No,
low.
no, no.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Got it. What
but
do you
because
what
of
do you
the
what do you know,
that was
Julie? I'm curious.
I remember that it's low because by the time it takes to actually get somebody to death row, they usually die before.
oh,
Because the process is like extremely long, I think. And I'm not, you don't quote me on that, but I know there's a reason
Hmm.
why it's low. It's also been outlawed in many, many states.
Right.
And it's they consider it inhumane. There's like a lot of things behind it, but they want to get rid of the death penalty, and they
Yeah.
went through, yeah, there's like a whole like the death penalty in and of itself is like a very interesting thing that we should probably read about at some point in time. But yeah, there's a reason for it being low. And what happened too is that people wanted to get rid of it, but everybody was just like, well, you don't understand. Like a lot of people, there's not a lot of deaths on death row. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um,
As many people are
But
against it, you'd think that millions of people are being put to death, but they're just
yeah,
not.
but
It's
yeah.
only for the worst
there's
of the
not.
worst. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's like it's like a totally weird number. Like I'm not even joking. I'm gonna have to cut you off. Sorry.
From the
Yeah.
1,000
So
or 700, apparently around 500 of those were from the state of Texas alone. So I was like, oh, is
yeah,
this book happening in Texas? But it's not in Texas. It's like in Pennsylvania or something, right? Somewhere else.
Okay.
I think it was like Texas and Oklahoma had maybe some Midwest state had like the highest amount of like death row things too. But yeah, there's like a whole like thing behind it. Darren,
Yeah.
Google it.
And
Anyway,
also
Um.
new evidence kind of shows up. So using new evidence, they kind of reduce their sentences. But yeah, it's
yeah,
mostly because of the time period. I think on average it takes like 24 years or something.
yeah, to actually get
Crazy.
somebody on death
Oh my
row.
gosh.
Like, yeah.
Because they just keep appealing it and appealing it and appealing like all this
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of red
yeah.
tape kind of stuff.
The
Whoa.
actually get your ass in the chair takes a very, very long time. So
Oh,
that's why
that's
there's not that many
insane.
deaths on death row.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Meanwhile, in Dubai, they just shoot you. They don't
Oh my
care.
god, I know.
Did you see that? I mean, I'm like, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I can't decide
You
because
know,
what he did was bad.
right. Speaking of that, I forgot to mention this, and I remember this fact about Stephen King also, that like he's really really good at doing that thing of like introducing someone super quickly and it being actually impactful, and you don't just like not care about them. So like when he was talking to the reporter, and the reporter talked about his son and the dog and that whole story, and
Mm-hmm.
like just that thought of like that dog might have never bit anyone again, but I still shot him. You know what I mean? And I was like,
Yeah.
hmm. I mean, and you just thinking like thinking of what we do in that situation versus like a human being, it just kind of got me like thinking. And I thought that that was like a cool little character study. Just get it, just the purpose of it, I think, is just to like get us all thinking about the death penalty. Period. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool. And yeah, I also don't know where I stand. Probably like somewhere in the middle, like maybe because I actually
Excuse me.
I probably stand on the side of the spectrum of Dubai, but not quite. Like I think that it's necessary and I would be like for it. But if it's not gonna like with this much red tape, we might as well like almost like not do it. Like I'll bet you it's costed like the country like so much money going through those 24 years.
And that
Yeah.
and that's why people wanted to get rid of it. People wanted to get rid of death penalty, one, because they found it inhumane, but the main reason they were lobbying against the death penalty is that it's really fucking expensive.
Right. At that point, it must cost
I
more
think,
than just housing him for the rest of
yeah,
his life. Like
yeah,
all the lawyer
yeah,
fees and processes and all this crap you got to do. I'm sure it starts becoming ridiculous for
yeah,
one person. Yeah, crazy.
yeah. I could be wrong. I could be talking out of my ass, but I don't remember where the fuck I remember reading about this.
You do have a surprising amount of facts on this.
I know, and I'm trying to think of like, why do I know this? Like, why do I remember this? I don't know. Anyways,
Hmm.
one thing I also did want to point out about this book and Stephen King, I just it's like John Grisham. Every word has a purpose. Every character has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. I absolutely love it. I know that all the information that I'm getting, I need, and that it's being put to good use. It's not just like frivolous and just like not gonna matter in the end. I really appreciate that about Stephen King. So I just want to
I
say that,
fully
like when you were
agree.
talking about Darren, you were talking about like
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
when you were talking about like detail, or I think one of you was talking about detail, like it's a lot of detail, and I was like, yeah, but like every detail matters. Like even when he's like rewriting it, and he's just like, oh, I know this is a lot, but then but he like goes back and like it gives you exactly why he wrote it. I was like, yes, I love when things wrap up really nicely instead of like how many other fucking books did we read that shit is crazy. So, anyways, yeah, I really appreciate about that book. Still, fuck Atonement. None of that shit mattered.
Yeah, I fully
Anyways,
agree, and I think it's interesting how wordy and how verbose he can get, but it stays like
yeah,
relevant. Like it can be dense. Like Fairy
yeah,
Tale was dense, but I still love that book, and I think of it a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like especially like the first half of it, just it was just
yeah,
sort of like a kid in like a small town for like 12 hours. Like we read whole books that are less than like just that phase of that book, and there was so much information, but it was all relevant and all
yeah.
made sense. It rarely feels like fluff, yeah, when he writes, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys might hate Jane Austen if you don't like the flowery language. Because
Hmm.
sometimes that's the point of it, just to immerse yourself in like flowery language that's just so drawn out. But like, oh, okay.
You know what? I mean, mm, I'd like to try because I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
don't mind flowery language. Go ahead.
Uh, oh, I was just saying, like, I'd be like down to try because just like what she's saying, I don't mind it. I in fact kind of like enjoy it. It's just I think it's
Hmm.
like a dangerous thing to play with, and I don't think that the author of Atonement play with it right. But I don't think it's like a bad thing to play with because
I also don't think a man who published a book in 2001 should be fucking acting like he's Jane Austen with that goddamn language in Atonement. I don't give a shit.
hmm.
Made me mad. I'm still
Like,
angry. I'm still
is
bitter about Atonement.
someone if somebody doesn't try to preserve language like that, we're just gonna be speaking like skippity doo the whole time, and that just really sucks. Because I feel like language is
That's
deteriorating.
fair. I agree with you there. I will not argue with you on that point. But still fuck Atonement.
Oh my god.
That's all I
I
have to
would
say.
like to try another flowery one. I don't I don't know
I
because
wouldn't
I don't think I'm against it. I don't think so. Maybe you're right, and maybe I'll read another one and I just still hate it. But I don't think that's the case.
I I do think we need to read like a classic at some point in time. Because that's like, the origin of flowery language, right? I'm not saying we have to
I've
fucking
been
read the
meaning to
Iliad
pick
or
Moby
anything like
Dick
that.
for quite some time. I
But
want to read Moby Dick again.
Mm.
Because I
yeah, I
essentially
just feel
like
like we
didn't
need to
read it.
read
It was one of
classics.
those ones where like it was like during school and like it didn't count, and I've sort of regretted it my whole life because whatever I gleaned from it, I was like, this story actually seems dope, and I want to get into it, but I just never did. So we should throw in some classics.
Yeah, we
Ooh,
should.
you know what we should do? Um, we should take them because clearly, actually, okay. Well, I'm gonna stop recording because maybe we're like wrapped up most.